We'll get to you next, right? I didn't see you standing up.
Hello, I'm Norma Donahue from Clive, and you may be able to tell I'm a legal immigrant to this country. And when I came over here, I had to sign all kinds of papers saying that I was not going to commit a crime, and that should I do so or become dependent upon the state, I could be deported. So I wonder what your thoughts are on the illegal immigrants that we have in this country and who continue to bombard our borders, who are committing a crime by getting here. So there are millions of people outside America who are trying to come here legally so that they can be registered. They're just as eager to work and make themselves part of our American life. I just wonder what your feelings are.
Well, Norma, thank you for the question, and thanks for being here. Thanks for being here legally. We appreciate that. But on these issues, it's important to start with first principles. We're a nation that has one of its cornerstone principles, its founding principles, the rule of law. And so we need to make sure that our culture and our society more broadly respects that principle. And if you have large segments of our population ignoring or violating or violating or ignoring the law and shoving it aside, it not only represents legal violations, but it begins to corrode the culture. You can't have a country that says the rule of law is so important, a paramount principle, and then have people flagrantly violating the law. And if you don't think this is important, go back to New York City pre-Rudy Giuliani. And as you all know from your own life and that experience and many others, if the rule is anything goes, pretty soon it does. And so we need to make sure that we have the law observed and respected and enforced. Now, as it relates to immigration, let's start with the positive. And the positive is this is a great nation, and we have benefited greatly from immigration, but it needs to be legal and reasonable and orderly. That's not what we have now, but let's start with those two principles, rule of law, and second, we value immigration, and let's celebrate legal, reasonable, and orderly legal immigration. But now on the illegal immigration, had a lot of things that experience in this. The first is we got to enforce the border, both from an immigration and a security perspective. When President Bush asked the governors to volunteer people to go to the border, National Guard troops, Minnesota volunteered, and under my direction, we sent troops to the Arizona border as part of Operation Jumpstart to help reinforce the border until they could get more people and more equipment down there, and it worked. So number one, enforce the border. Number two, we need a better system to check and verify whether people are here legally or not, and it needs to be quick and accurate and fair and reasonable and not burdensome on employers. So I issued an executive order in Minnesota that said if you want to do business with the state, or you're a subcontractor who wants to do business with the state, you got to use this system called E-Verify. It's not perfect, but it's getting better, and it's a more accurate system than what we have in this old paper-based system. And then I also wanted the visa expiration dates on driver's licenses. So we have a lot of folks who come legally, and then for one reason or another overstay their legal status, and it's hard to discern once they mix in. So I proposed during the campaign to put the visa expiration dates right on driver's licenses. And the legislature refused to do it, so I issued an executive order, and we got it done administratively. And I think Minnesota is one of the first, and still to this day, one of the only states in the country to have that. So those are some thoughts, but know that I have participated in these issues as a leader, not just with words, but deeds. And we've made good progress in Minnesota and helped the national effort as well. Yes, sir.